Hello,
We're back.
it's Let's Talk Wellness with Jeannie.
And Gab. And we just couldn't resist after our first episode. And after we watched it, there was a little bit of difference in our sizes. So we thought we'd make you chuckle.
I'm the tall one today.
And I'm the little one today. But then we realized, let's
All right.
really.
Now we'll bring ourselves back to our regular scheduled size.
Exactly.
So we got some great feedback last week.
We did.
It was so fun
Yeah,
to
it
hear
was a
from
lot of fun.
everybody, from our fans.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I know. It was so organic too.
I know, it felt really good.
Yeah,
It really, really did.
It did.
And we kind of talked among ourselves about what we would like to, how to approach moving forward, because there's so much to cover.
There's a lot. There's a lot. And we did have some requests, and we will get to those in future discussions because some of those topics are pretty big.
Yeah, they'll
Um,
take more than one.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you for those that have mentioned, like, can you talk about this? We appreciate you. We hear you, and we will definitely cover those topics.
Yeah.
But for this time around, yeah.
It just feels like a good idea to kind of cover some foundational stuff first that will likely apply to all the wellness topics that are in our future.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Right. So, yeah, these are what we call the pillars of health, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
pillars of wellness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Both
think
of
that's
those things. Yeah, in any capacity, no matter what your goals are, you're gonna want to look at these things in some way or another and how you're doing with them.
right.
Right?
Right.
Although I feel like there's one more thing we're gonna need to add, but I'm gonna bring it up later.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That was like a surprise one.
I just remembered it. One of my favorite topics. So you'll probably think of it now. Yeah, get you guys all thinking about what does Jeannie like to talk about? You'll all think it's funny when we get there.
All right, cool.
So let's start with the first. These are in no particular order, by the way. Like there's nothing's really more important, generally speaking, than any of the others, depending on what your goals are and what you're addressing.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I love that you say that, because so often we think, well, we have to do this first, or it has, like what we talked about last time, it has to go in this order. But right, they all have equal importance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that. I love that you said.
Okay, thanks. Thanks so much.
All right.
I won't remember what I said
Yeah,
5
that's
minutes from
okay.
now, but that's okay. So one of the first things that we have on our list to talk about is hydration. And it's kind of a big one because we're made up of 60% water.
Yes, we are.
And that declines as we age.
It does.
So I might be a little less. I'm 59%. Cracking us up.
You cracked me up. Does that mean well, really, it goes by age.
You're just right behind me. You're
Yeah.
59.5%.
Yeah.
Some of you might still be 60% water. But anyway, it's important.
It's hugely important, and it is for every function of the body.
Yeah.
Right. So hydration will definitely be an important component in your overall wellness. I was actually just with a friend and we were talking about this. She had an issue. She mentioned she's trying to get her father to drink more water, and he's had some issues going on, and it really, when we had our discussion, we really made the connection of just the simple act of hydrating can really help.
And it sometimes people are like, oh my God, I'm depressed, I'm low energy, I'm hungry. Go to the water first.
Right.
For real. Like
Right.
it literally is, water equals life.
It does.
I mean, I talk about this all the time, and it's a big part of anyone's wellness journey.
It absolutely, like think about how long we could go without food. Literally, like, okay, if we were like on a desert island or something like that, you could go weeks upon weeks without food. But water,
a couple days.
So
2 to 3
right
days.
there, that tells you something.
Yeah.
It's critical. So yes, hydration is going to be a big component, and we will talk about that and some habits of how to increase your hydration. And sometimes it's not so difficult. We could,
it doesn't have to be hard at all. And we don't want to spend too much time on any one particular topic today, but we will say water is the best
Yeah, it's
thing to
key.
drink, and it's
It's-
really the most important. I mean, you know, not every single liquid beverage that you ingest counts towards your daily hydration, but almost
Right,
everything does, you
right,
know,
some
like
take
it's.
away, right,
Right, some
right.
can deplete you. So we'll, you know, we don't have to spend a whole time on that, but
No.
that's one of the pillars that is gonna be related to anybody's wellness.
Right.
You know, goals.
Absolutely. Oh, and can I say one more thing?
Yeah, of
Related
course.
to that. So hydration isn't only from water, right? There are
Sure,
foods
sure.
that have high water content.
Excellent point. Thank you,
I have a
Gail.
little tidbit here.
We need to like keep a little jar, like who said something clever?
Yeah, like, do.
You get a penny. So
All right.
then moving on, you start the next one.
Nutrition, right? I feel like we're all obsessed with our nutrition. But for
Who's
good
right,
reason.
who's doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Who's telling you you're doing the wrong thing?
That's right. It's true.
And it's different for everybody,
It
which we
is.
touched on last week.
Right. It is bio-individual. Nutrition, what's right for Jeannie might not be the right exact thing for me. So finding what is the adequate or supportive nutrition for you is a journey, right? That's where you put your health detective hat on. I know.
You coined my phrase. She coined my phrase.
But nutrition, a nutrient-dense diet. What I think we probably both will agree upon, we agree upon a lot of things.
Yeah.
Is like if we had to say from a perspective of, well, just give me the basis, like give me the
Yeah.
Whole Foods, right? As close to the
Unprocessed.
unprocessed.
No box, no bag, no can.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little.
But yeah, I mean, and that's general, because let's
General.
face it, you know, frozen vegetables come in a bag, and sometimes that's gonna be the most convenient and easiest thing for you to
Right.
do. So I don't want to be like, you know, take anybody taking that literally, but on the, you know, on a regular
Oh,
basis,
yeah.
you know, if it comes in a box or a bag and you have to pull the top open,
Yeah, it's like, right, so,
chips.
and you look, you meet yourself, you know, where you're at
Yeah.
and ways that you can improve, that's great. So yeah, overall nutrition, looking at it from a lens of how supportive it can be to the body. Because this
Yeah.
is something, you know, if we look at the way we are organized, right?
Mhm.
Structurally, you know, it starts at the chemical level and then goes to the cellular, then the tissue, the organs.
sciencey.
Yeah, it keeps going,
Yeah.
right? But the reason I mention that is that first level chemical is nutrition.
Yeah.
That's what we're made up of,
Yeah.
right? All the things that you eat get broken down. So that's the nutrition, that first level. So we have control over that. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Anyway.
And just to add to that, and then we'll move on to the next,
Yeah.
is every single thing you put past your lips, you know, is either working for your body or against it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
do you have more to
Yes.
say?
I do
to
have
that?
something to
Okay,
do.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, please do.
No,
You go.
just that,
Okay.
just that it's, you know, just to really, really oversimplify it, it's either, you know, we don't want to label our foods, but it's either supporting, you know, the journey, or it's kind of just taking you like one step back, that's all. Or
Exactly.
still holding you from progressing.
And that's exactly it. And I'll take it to like what you just said about labeling. Food isn't good or bad. There's no moral value to
But
food.
we have food freedom.
We do. And it either is supporting you in what you are trying to do for yourself, or maybe it's not so supportive. But so I love that you said that, because that's, I think, a key thing. Because a lot of times what we do is,
Well, we call it a cheat, or I'm being really bad today.
right, because of the, but no.
No, because if
Right.
it feels like in the moment, you know, it's not
Yeah.
bad. It's
Yeah.
just what you need right then.
Right. So
You
yeah.
know? Yeah, agreed.
All right.
Moving along,
Yes.
the next, again, these are in no particular order. But the next thing that is gonna have an impact on your wellness journey is your sleep. And and feeling rested. And so there's really literally subtopics in every one of these too. I mean, we got 10 years of material here.
Yeah.
So buckle up.
Strap in.
But sleep is, you know, sleep is pretty high up there
Huge.
too, because it impacts your hunger signals.
Mhm.
It impacts your mitochondrial, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like energy or,
Absolutely.
uh, capabilities. Your cognitive function, people are walking around with brain fog, and sometimes people will say, oh no, I sleep great. I go to bed at 10, I wake up at 6, I get 8 solid hours of sleep. And I say, well, oh, that's awesome. Do you feel rested when you wake up? And they're like, huh, not really.
So
Oh,
interesting.
I'm not, no one ever asked me that. Okay, well, I'm gonna look deeper, let's talk
Yeah.
about what's happening before you go to sleep.
Mhm.
What's the sleep hygiene like?
Yeah.
What time are you having dinner?
Right. And
There's
that impacts,
several things that impact your sleep
yeah, and that could
quality,
impact your blood sugar, right?
which can interrupt sleep.
Absolutely. So yeah, so it's
Yeah,
all
and
sleep,
hormones.
right, stress levels, like it just that tie into blood sugar.
Yeah.
So sleep is critical. I mean, I know on a personal, if I'll share with everybody, that's something that
Blink. We'll give her a coin for that.
I need to work on my sleep. Like
Really?
I tend to stay up too late. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm working on
Okay,
it.
well, yeah, and
Yeah.
sometimes just getting it out there,
Yeah,
like just
yeah,
saying it, I find that, it lends a level of like accountability.
yeah.
Even when you're just having it, like we have these conversations at least a couple times a month when we're together, just together for a walk or together with our guys or a couple people in the
Mhm.
neighborhood and other friends. And inevitably, we kind of get together and start
Right.
talking about, how we're feeling that
Yeah,
week or
yeah.
what's going on. And we'll kind of workshop whatever any of us are going through. So it's been just amazing, an amazing friendship.
Yeah.
And what we all have with each other. It's really supportive. And that's, now I'll remember to just check
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
in a
Thank
gentle,
you. Right.
accountability partner way, and
Sure,
not like,
sure.
are you doing what you said you were gonna do?
Right.
Because that doesn't feel supportive. It really doesn't.
No,
We can beat
no.
ourselves up.
Yeah,
We don't need to do it to other people.
yeah.
Right? But I feel like we covered a
Yes.
lot. We could spend another time, another session really talking about, sleep hygiene in more detail.
Yeah,
That will,
absolutely. I think that's it's a good, it's such a, I feel like it is such a big topic that impacts so many things.
but
Um,
we're gonna say that about every single
yeah,
one
I
of them.
know, I
It's so
know.
funny,
So,
but
yeah,
so true. Like
right.
almost every single one. So, but again, I think every one of them could be their own topic, subtopic, and then every wellness topic that we choose later, we're gonna be able to touch on each of these and
Each,
how they impact that particular journey, and then possibly a particular person's journey. You look much deeper into each one of these.
yeah,
So it's really drilling it down for people.
yeah.
But so far we've covered hydration and nutrition and sleep. And now we'll go on to,
Movement, moving the body.
wow.
Oh, oh.
All right.
I love
Go
movement.
on.
Yeah.
Tell us what you love about it.
Yeah. So movement, which I know has always been thought of as exercise, we're rephrasing it. I think we both
But
like the
we
word
agree, we
movement.
both use the word movement in our
Yeah.
practices.
Because I personally feel, do you feel the same way? I don't know if we talked about this. Is
Probably.
exercise, I think, has such it's like, whoa, exercise, you gotta get into the gym, you gotta
You think
destroy
of like
yourself.
jumping jacks and
Yeah.
weights and grunting and gym rats.
Sure, like
And it doesn't have to be like that.
it doesn't.
Can if that's what lights you up, you should do that.
Yeah, so I do feel that the word movement is a little bit more encompassing of moving your body. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just doing an exercise class or like a class or going running or swimming or whatever it is
Yeah.
that you enjoy. And that's the key word right there, is enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to enjoy it when, maybe you're pushing and like it's uncomfortable.
Sometimes you have to go out of your
You
comfort zone a
do,
little
you
bit.
do. That's where growth comes from,
Mhm.
on so many levels. But I love the idea of movement, of moving your body on a day-to-day basis. And that has such an amazing impact.
Mhm.
As we age, as we grow age, as we,
Mhm.
get further along in our life, that having that part of our lives that we're agile, we're able to do the things we want to do. And I always think of it as like, look at it from a perspective of little snacks, like movement snacks. So when you leave something upstairs and you're like, oh, I'll get it
Go
later.
get it now.
Go get it now.
I love
Right?
that. I
'Cause-
do that.
Yeah.
I go up and down my stairs and I kind of, I don't, my knees are getting a
Right,
little
right.
creaky on me, but I do it anyway because
Yes.
I need to keep them moving. And I'm thinking as you're talking too. So I did some floor stuff this morning. I don't belong to a gym. I have a love-hate relationship with movement.
Okay.
More recently, because I broke my wrist about a year and a half ago, which you know,
Yeah,
and most people
yeah.
that are part of our community know this. However, I'm getting back into a lot of things, but with that comes a lot of soreness and discomfort. So I was making something earlier in my air fryer.
Oh.
And I stood in my kitchen and I just did some movement. Like I put my arms out and I brought my knees up and like while the timer was on, it was only 5 minutes, but I was like, I was kind of proud. Like I was just like, all right, you know what? That was it. Cause I went for a little walk. I did some floor stuff this morning, but I didn't really get a good cardio going. And I just felt like that's, if that's where you're starting, that's okay
Great.
too.
Yeah.
Or if you're really into, I have friends that do, a couple different friends that do like, they watch videos, they do beach body, or they find something on YouTube, or they go to a yoga studio, or they have a home gym and they
Yeah.
go down to another room in their house that they work out, and that's all amazing. Go for long walks. If you're, go for a brisk walk or not a brisk walk.
Yeah.
Whatever your body will allow and feel comfortable with.
Right. And that's the
critical.
key. Yeah, that's the key thing. I call them movement snacks.
Yeah, I love
like
it.
little movement
Like
snacks.
I had a little movement snack today
You
before
do.
my lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I heard you say that movement
Oh,
snack,
yeah.
but I
like
like
a
it.
snack. Like sometimes people go exercise snacks, but maybe we're moving away from.
Yeah,
you
or
know.
even if you're just heading to the store, the mall or the supermarket, and it's our inclination to get as close as we can to the door, but maybe park further back,
Yeah. And
maybe.
when you're in the airport,
Yeah,
I like to take the stairs.
yeah. Well, I might have a little bit of a harder time with that if I'm carrying a heavy piece of luggage.
Yeah, so I say that
My
with
luggage
like
is a little bigger than
yeah,
yours.
yeah,
But
right?
when I'm not carrying something heavy, like I was in the city a couple weeks ago, it was torrentially raining. I walked a lot that day, very briskly. And then I got to Penn and even those steep ones, I just take the stairs.
Great.
I push myself up those damn
Yeah.
stairs, but it
Yeah.
was hard.
It is hard,
It was
but
really
you're
hard,
right, like
but
you
it
do
felt
it.
so good because when I worked in New York, I only took the stairs. Back then I was young,
But you can
So,
still do it.
but I can still do the stairs, and
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah,
Do it while you can.
yeah, and keep doing it. Keep
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah.
Keep moving. Anyway, and
So, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then the key thing, and I think I said this before, with movement, and you'll hear us kind of working that in through.
Threading it through.
Yeah, is finding the movement that brings you joy. So there's
Yeah.
no, like, you must do this one exercise. Again, it goes back to what we're saying. It's the one that kind of you feel that you could continually do, that you want to keep going back to. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Love that.
Okay, the next one.
Next one is spirituality.
Mm.
And if that one feels a little like it, not necessarily to me, but I think sometimes my clients are surprised when I bring that one up. Like they're like, well, what does that have to do with this? But it can mean it isn't linked in any way really to like religion as much as it is to like having your own, like feeling connected to something, feeling whether you're a part of a community, whether you are someone who prays or maybe just
Nature.
to get outside. I was going to say get out
Right.
into like hiking or you're in a running club, and even that, like even when I go on my walks and I say, oh my God, like look at that type of leaf on that tree, or
Mhm.
like I get really into stuff like that, or I have a big interest in crystals, and I mean that almost sounds a little woo-woo now that I said it out loud, but I'm a big fan of that and their vibration and frequency, and also, believe it or not, my essential oils, which we touched
Yes.
on really briefly last time, but they also have a frequency and vibration, and that connects me to like, almost like grounds me. But again, it doesn't mean you're going to like a house of worship as much as it means you feel connected to something bigger.
That's it. Right, right. Something
So-
bigger than yourself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And that you're part of this, whatever that is.
yeah. I mean, I have a
Yeah.
great, I'm very deeply rooted in my faith, believe it or not, even though I don't consider myself highly religious. I have so much faith. Like
Mhm.
I just count on that.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
I
I
think-
do.
I
I
think it's-
feel like,
yeah.
I mean, and I'm open to the conversation that like other people will say, like, that's man-made, that's man-made, made up stuff or whatever. And that's okay, but it's something that like I leaned into heavily, like pretty much most of my life. So it's still a part of my like core belief system.
Absolutely.
Even though I don't like find myself sitting in a pew in a church or any other house of worship on a really regular basis,
Mhm.
I draw on that often, in all ways, like when I'm thinking about my wellness journey or someone I care deeply for, or maybe I'm asking the universe not to let it rain when I'm having a party. But that's it. It doesn't, it's a really wide topic of spirit, your spiritual being.
Mhm.
We could look at it from from a holistic, like chakra type of point of view also, which is kind of a little bit on the spiritual side
I
as
love
well.
that.
Right,
Yes. We definitely could.
so there's a lot of subtopics under there too.
And I think it helps feel a sense of connection. I think going back to,
Community, yeah.
right, connection, community, and that you're not alone in, and I know, of course we have friends and family, but that there's this bigger energy that is a sense of support.
Yeah.
And I know on a personal level, I feel that. I
All the
definitely
time. When we're
feel
together, we
we
feel
do,
it.
we
And
do.
that's kind of why we're doing this.
Yes, yeah.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of part of it,
Yeah.
because we're trying to figure out a way to just to share what we know and make sure that like we're all on board together, because we're both includers.
Yes.
I think we're
Yes.
both like very rooted in the community piece of it. And we
Right.
want everyone to like be together. I always say to people, we want to live longer, stronger, or stronger, longer. Like either way, they're both important, but it means nothing if you're by yourself. And
Yes.
it'll be awfully lonely if we don't all get there together.
Sure.
And if we link arms on the way, that makes that journey so much better
That's a good thing.
and easier.
Yes.
Right?
Excellent. I do
I love
agree.
it.
I
And-
do agree. Yeah.
And our last written topic,
Oh, because there's an extra bonus
there's the
one,
bonus topic.
which I thought I guessed as we were going along, but then I
You forgot it
realized,
already?
well, no, and then we kind of talked about it. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, okay.
community. Was
Oh,
that?
no,
Okay.
no.
But all right, our last one, we're like, whoop, is mindfulness.
Yeah,
Yes, that's a big one.
it is, because if you can't manage the beep in your head, sometimes it has always, it has a huge impact on what's going on under your hood
Yeah.
in terms of stress. And stress is a real big canopy. It's a real big umbrella term, but it does manifest in certain ways in your body.
Yeah, it can. It definitely can. So mindfulness it sometimes feels like a daunting, a big one to like take on. And I don't know if you feel that this way, or have you ever felt when talking to people that sometimes mindfulness feels like I'm supposed to be sitting really calmly and kind of meditating and not,
Yeah.
but mindfulness isn't necessarily that. It can be if that's what you want it to be, but it is just more, I look at it as more of as an awareness in the moment of kind of this of taking stock of where you're at this moment. So how do we relate that maybe from like a nutritional standpoint, is being very mindful with, when you're being mindful, when you're eating, is kind of feeling the sensation. So it still can be in a dialogue where you're sitting with friends and you're having a beautiful meal. But maybe means you're putting your fork down and you're feeling the sensation of the food in your mouth. And how does that feel? That's mindfulness.
Yeah,
Right?
that is.
There's
That's
a
beautiful.
presence, presence of the act of what you're doing, and kind of like, oh, I'm talking, I'm like, even right now,
Yeah.
like having a moment of being very present. So,
Yeah.
so I think it can feel mindfulness can sometimes feel like this, whoa, it's a big
Right, a
one.
meditation, do I have to are you gonna
Yeah,
tell me I have to meditate? I hear that a lot.
yeah.
But even just, paying attention to your breath,
Mm,
and just, we could go
love
on,
that.
we could bring in some, like, a little bit of conversation about the vagus nerve and
Yes,
how it
yes.
impacts all the body systems, and taking a moment to do some deep diaphragmatic breathing a little bit, to
Mhm.
making sure that, um that you don't have a million tabs open in your brain, or that you're not mentally running from a dinosaur all day long,
Yes.
that you know, so whether it's during mealtime, or maybe when you first wake up in the morning, or at bedtime, or literally anywhere in between, there's like never a specifically right time for um mindfulness, but helping to retrain your parasympathetic nervous system to calm and to be it in your default, instead of the other way, instead of having
Mhm.
your stress response be the default, is it takes time to train your brain that way, and then to get your body in line with it.
Yeah,
Does that
yeah,
make sense?
absolutely. Yeah, totally makes sense.
I don't know if you
Totally.
have any other like
So,
tips that you would include in that when you
so
share, when you know, touch on that.
yeah, I think you said it beautifully. I think that really encompasses
Okay.
what both of our discussion around that really kind
Yeah.
of encapsulates what,
Thank you.
yeah.
So really briefly, because that was the end of our pillars to support your wellness journey,
Isn't it?
but there's a topic that really is part of pretty much all of these in some form or another, and it's poop.
Yeah.
Detoxification
Oh,
isn't technically a pillar of health, but it is critical, and it is impacted by every one of those.
it is, it is. Oh, that was a good one.
Mm,
Yeah, so that goes,
my favorite topic.
yeah.
If you know me at all, you know that I love to ask people how they poop. And we were just talking about this before we started
were.
this. So we'll wind it down, but know that that's important. And every one of these is something that we should be paying attention to daily. So, and that falls right along with that,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
And it fits in. So, you know, do you want to add anything about that?
Well, what I would say is, the upper part of that
Yeah.
is digestion, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, and then-
but they're all related to that too. So the
Yes.
vagus nerve is really the root of everything. I know, and now we're
That's
just
like, ooh.
we just threw
like,
in
yeah.
something from left field that's like,
So
wait a
tying
minute,
it all together.
right?
But yes, yes. So the digestion, not only what we typically think of digestion, but how we digest the things around
Well,
us.
sure, of course, emotional
Yeah,
digestion is
yeah,
real.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which makes me think of like
energetic digestion.
yes. We could have friends on that can talk about some of
Mhm.
from a psychological standpoint.
Oh my gosh, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, we have some friends that,
We could, we're gonna call in the experts.
Yes.
We're bringing so much value here.
yeah.
So, but I
Anyway,
guess we should probably wind it down, because I
Yes,
think this was
yes,
a little
long
bit
one.
longer, but we will say thank you for joining us.
Thank you, thank
It
you.
was,
Yeah.
it's always a pleasure, right? Like, it's just,
It
this
is.
is so much fun. We want
Yeah.
it to go on all day.
We do, we could be
do.
like, do, do, do.
I
do.
know,
Yeah.
it's so cool and so fun. So we're grateful for you and our community. If you find value in this, share it with somebody else.
Yes,
Right?
please do.
And we're gonna start our own little channel on YouTube, so you can subscribe and set up notifications so that you'll get notified whenever we post.
Oh, we're getting official.
Yeah, baby. Have a great
All
weekend.
right, ciao, take care.